Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is the news. This is the paper talk, but it's with a difference. As you can see, we are live, we are in the studio, but it's not the royal we, it's not the editorial, it's me and Joseph Smith's here with me. How are we, Joe?
I'm very well, thank you.
Is this the first time we've done a non-breaking news that's been live with me and thee?
I think it might be. It feels like, do you know, like the election's happening?
Yeah.
And we know it's going to be Sunderland first because they're losers and they want to be first.
Are they the ones that rush to count?
Yeah, just
that's their thing.
Time, get it right. But yes, there's loads of Man United stuff to talk about. What are we talking about?
We're going to be talking about the transfer window, because ESPN have done an interesting article about Amorim's issues. Like, has the transfer window fixed what needed to be fixed at Manchester United? Now, it has fixed some of it. I think we can all agree that we needed a new attack, and we got a new attack. Brian Mbumo, Mateus Cunha, Benjamin Sesko. However, there's a big sort of midfield shaped hole there in that transfer window, and some may argue even the goalkeeper. I'm not having a go at Saint Lemans because he's a good young goalkeeper, but is he Premier League ready? Just, you can see some of the top line there is what I'll get into. Transfer window slam shut, but questions remain. So we know who we've bought, we know why we've bought them. However, there's some we haven't bought, or some areas we haven't addressed. What do you make? I know we've discussed this a lot, but just for the purposes of this vid, what do you make of the argument that we've not fixed all the problems that needed to be fixed?
We haven't fixed all the problems that needed to be fixed, obviously. But I don't see how you can just fix everything all at once. And I know this is, not everyone will take this view, and I appreciate that, and it's a bit too long term, and people might, not agree with me. But I almost see the next 2 years as like one sort of spell, kind of transfer window at Manchester United. The summer coming up and the summer after that is almost like one singular unit. Yeah. Where by the end of that chunk of time, we need to be ready to start challenging for the big trophies again. And it doesn't take much longer than 3 years if you get those 3 years right. It's very rare that a manager comes in these days. I know when Fergie came in, it took 7-8 years, but that's because spending wasn't the same way it was. Professionalism, athleticism wasn't the same way it is now. I think you can accrue a bigger, more ready squad more quickly now than you used to be able to. Yeah. But I think if you get it right for over 3 years, then you are ready to start challenging. Arsenal did that, Liverpool did that, City did that, Chelsea did it in 2 years, but obviously that was kind of, you could just go and spend what you want then. But that's kind of how long it takes. So these next 3 years, it doesn't really matter exactly, particularly when we sign what, as long as we get it right and we trust that it's going to go in the right direction, and that obviously, crucially, the people who are buying these players buy the right players. Yeah, that is so much more important than just fixing and plugging holes. Like, if you've got a leak at your house and I come around and stuff a load of tissue in it, I can walk out your front door going, it's not leaking anymore. Yeah. In 45 minutes it will be. Yeah. Whereas if we say, actually, we're just going to turn the taps off for now, you can't use that sink for a bit, and then a week later I come and properly sort it, that is, that is infinitely preferable to just a fix that doesn't really work. If United had gone out and bought a midfielder that we didn't really want, because we need a midfielder. Yeah. And it's still going to cost 40 million because everyone costs 40 million. That's 40 million off an actual solution to the problem. And I just think it's better to look at this next spell of time as a single chunk and think by the end of 2026, 2027, we're going to have a team that's actually ready to challenge for the title. You need to get it right every single time, or certainly 75% of the time. If you sign 4 players, 3 of them have to be right, and then you make a mistake. Fair enough, everyone makes mistakes. But this whole thing of like, just get a midfielder. Well, why? Because we haven't got infinite money. If you spend 50 million on Stiller or, I'm not saying he's a bad player necessarily, but on the wrong player, that's 40, 50 million off Baleba or off whoever it is you want to buy next summer. Just look at it as a bigger picture, I think. No, you're right, and I know you mentioned Sir Alex Ferguson and how it was different, but there are similarities because let's not forget, I was just going back there to when Fergie first came in, and people say you shouldn't compare it to Fergie. Well, why can't you look at Fergie? He's the most successful manager, not just we've ever had, but English football's ever had. Has ever been.
Yeah, and he inherited a team that was struggling, and he turned it into, made Manchester United the most successful team in Premier League history. But he did it in increments. You're right, like, I'm looking at his first window, there's obviously his first signing was Viv Anderson, but also during that first summer he brought in Brian McClair, eventually brought in Mark Hughes, brought in Steve Bruce. Those 3 players played a big part in United winning the title 4 or 5 years later. So he wasn't, and he also brought in one or two players that didn't quite work out, but it wasn't like he went out and he bought 8 new players straight away and then we won a title in 1989. That didn't happen. He went out and he bought several players, and some of them were a bit more long-term, some of them were stopgaps, but it was like increments, like you just said there, and obviously the icing on the cake was in 1992, we signed some bloke called Eric Cantona. By that time, you're almost there, and he gets you over the line because he's, you know, one of the greatest footballers the world has ever seen.
But if instead of getting Cantona, the year before, we'd gone and spent a lot of the money on another player.
Well, it's a great point, because we bought, obviously, Dion Dublin, who got injured, but there was talk of I think he wanted Mick Hartford or someone before as a sort of stopgap. So you're right, and I think that we have to sort of be a little bit patient and understand that we can't just go out and buy every single player in every single position we need to address. Because if you're going to do that, then you'd probably go, do you know what, actually, could probably do with another wing-back, just as a backup. Actually, all right, we've got loads of centre-backs. Is there still scope for us to get one more? Like, could we maybe go out and get I think Mac was saying about Mark Gay the other day, like, you know, do you know, like, there's always going to be areas where you can go, oh, we could actually do with another one.
I know the years don't quite line up, but I'm just going to use this as an example. When we got when we got Rooney, I think a couple of years later, so again, it's not quite the same, but Chelsea got Shevchenko a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Imagine we'd gone, and we'd got someone like Shevchenko, not him, but a sort of a striker, mid to late 20s, banging goals in another league. We can't get Rooney right now, so we'll get Shevchenko instead, or, you know, whatever, or Anelka, or whoever it may be. And then Rooney goes to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't afford Rooney the next season because you've already bought Shevchenko. It doesn't matter, because Shevchenko's a top player. He's on the way down, and it doesn't quite work in this league, etc., etc., etc. Like, nothing would have been better than signing an 18-year-old Wayne Rooney.
No.
And getting a more established player as a short term, and then actually go, well, actually, you know, we've got Stiller in midfield now, or we've got whoever it may be as midfield. Do we really need another one? Do we really need Baleba? And then you can end up prioritising other areas because you've sort of papered over the cracks a little bit. I think just getting the right players over the next 2 to 3 seasons is far more important than filling gaps right now. And that might be not very sort of palatable for some fans who want United to do really well this season, and I obviously want us to do well this season. Yeah. But short-term progress and just, we've got to win now because otherwise has got us to second 2 or 3 times, third 2 or 3 times, a couple of trophies, but not one sustained title challenge in the last 12 years. And that is really what we're here for, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like, I know there will people say that watching football is about winning trophies, and of course it is. And I wouldn't trade the FA Cup win against City for a title challenge. But long term, we want to be doing both of those things, all of those things.
This is the thing, and I think Amorim's at an advantage where I can't remember. I said this a few weeks ago outside Old Trafford when I did the news. I can't remember a time, and I think this was on the back of sort of Roy Keane's criticism how standards have slipped. He said at United, you know, we lost to Arsenal and some people are all right with that. I think Gary Neville had said, you know, the performance was that good that you can take positives from it. And I don't think Keano's, I don't know, I might be wrong, but it wasn't having a massive dig, but he's sort of saying, look, standards have slipped where you're almost happy with a defeat. But the standards have lowered.
They have slipped.
And like, we've gone into the season, and I think, and I said this before, I don't think I've ever, in the Premier League, certainly not in the Premier League, gone into a season where if we finished 6th, I'd be all right with it.
No.
Like, I'd look at it and go, actually, that's all right. Like, if we'd have finished 6th any other season, you're probably thinking the manager's got to get sacked. He's not up to the job. We sacked Van Gaal for finishing 5th and winning a FA Cup. Admittedly, Josie was waiting there, and that's one of the reasons. But it was nowhere near good enough. You know, Ollie was sacked, obviously. We had a poor start to the season, but we just finished 2nd, and we were sort of mid-table-ish. Ditto Jose. I know there was other issues going on. But now, Amorim's advantage is if we are making slow progress, and that progress is we finish 6th, and then it's 4th, and then it's a title challenge, I think that'll work. I think he'll get away with that. Whereas in the past, as a manager, you probably get one season where you sort of consolidate, and the next season, if it's not a title challenge or it's not something emphatic, you're out on your ear. Where I think because he's Ineos's guy and because everyone's sort of accepted we're miles away from where we need to be, he's got that little bit more grace. We're getting some of the comments and I'll come back to you. Stu Cantona, what a fantastic name. He's been a member of the Academy for 2 months. Keep up the great work, guys. Awesome work, especially with Adam and Steve, Joe and Jay working all together. Ann L, who's been a member of the Academy for 5 months. Thanks for that, by the way, Stu. We haven't prioritised our midfield since Sir Alex Ferguson left. It's mad, as it's the heart of any team, both defence and attack. And then he's put back Amorim. Hashtag back Amorim. But other people talking about Adrian Rabiot. There's a bit of a debate going on in the chat about whether we should have gone for Rabiot on a free. Would you have had Adrian Rabiot?
No.
Didn't he have a scrap in the Marseille dressing room or something? Well, that when he basically sacked.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Because there was this, when we were linked with him a few years ago, some people point out, look, I know he's got this reputation, but he's not been that bad recently. It's like a lot of it was a few years ago. Last couple of years, he's been all right. But then if you're fighting with your own teammate in the dressing room, you're getting sacked. And I don't think... Dan United 94 says the scrap was behind an Asda in Marseille, Jay. No doubt.
It was behind a Leclerc.
Yeah. Stephanie Griffith says, why aren't we on 100 likes yet? We're at that stage of the transfer window as well, because it's shut, where we look back at what might have been.
Oh, yes.
You know, like the come and had a look what you could have won stories. They're doing the rounds here. We've got one, I think this is from Duncan Castles, who we've had on Full-Time Devils a few years ago. He said that United were well in for Antoine Semenyo. Apparently, he says it, I don't know how true this is, but he's saying that Amorim even took him to dinner, I think I read in this article, or when he did his interview. There you go, see there, forgive me. Shared a meal, a succulent meal.
Shared a meal? What, both eating off the same fucking plate? Like,
well, how did he say it like? They went halves on a...
We'll just get one between two.
Yeah.
You don't mind sharing you, Antoine?
Shared a meal.
Yeah.
Like, they got how much have you got?
Slicing the burger.
I've got £2. You've got, what's that, 180. Can we get a meal deal? Yeah, I've got my club card. We'll be all right. Like, that is, a bizarre way of putting it. Are you lamenting the fact that Antoine Semenyo didn't join Manchester United? Are you bothered?
No, he's kind of... I think there's a lot of players, and these are the sorts of players that are very popular in the Premier League at the moment. Whereas at one time it would have been sort of Ozils and Matters. I think your modern attacking midfielder is a bit more of a all-action sort of workhorse kind of player.
Yeah.
Like Semenyo, I think he averaged one of the highest shots per game last season. He's not a centre forward. He's, I think a lot of teams have players like him.
Yeah.
Like we've got sort of Cunha that can do a similar thing. There's sort of Morgan Rogers at Villa, Semenyo at Bournemouth. Like there's a lot of teams where you go through and they've got a player like that, sort of high athleticism, high work rate, good in front of goal, not a genius on the ball, not like I said, not a Mata, not an Ozil, those sorts of players that used to kind of dominate in those areas. But it's a modern sort of Premier League player in that position. I think we just got Cunha instead of him.
Yeah, I think there's something in that. I think
we've gone slightly less sort of up and down, slightly less running. But when you watch Cunha play, he's running about all the time. And we've gone a little bit more sort of finesse and final third prowess, because Semenyo tends to go on these sort of hot streaks where he'll bag a few goals and then go quiet. I think with Mbeumo and Cunha we got, 37 Premier League goals, just goals, not even involvements. I think it was pushing 50 goal involvements.
No, I think you're right, spot on with your maths there.
Semenyo doesn't sort of hit those numbers, but he is a good player, and the sort of player that would have worked well at United. I just think we've gone for people who are actually a bit better, to be honest.
Is he the one that took like 8 shots a game or something?
Yeah, it was like, I think it's like six shots a game.
6 shots a game,
which is massive.
Yeah, fair enough. He scored 13 goals, whatever, but he's shooting a lot.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So I mean, you can make of that what you will. I think Santa Notch says this is turning into a sit-down transfers live. It is. Santa Notch also making the point about midfield. We had Matic, Herrera and Pogba at one point. Wasn't that neglected? Just got it wrong a fair bit. That little sort of threesome. Matic, sorry, bad choice of words.
One of the great threesomes.
Yeah, Matic, Herrera and Pogba. Remember when Ollie came in? It was them three, wasn't it? Was it them three? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was class.
That was good.
That had everything you needed for a 3 in midfield. Yeah. And you pushed Pogba further up and he was loving it, wasn't he? He was loving life sort of as a 10. You had Herrera as an 8, he was just back up and down absolutely everywhere. And you had Matic just sat in front of the defence. Who also Matic was underrated at times where he could pick up the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
He had that in his locker. Then he started off as a 10, didn't he, Matic?
Yeah, he did.
But then it lasted for about 12 games before they all started getting injured, and then it all
the
just
injuries
went wrong.
weren't helpful. But then we didn't sign another defensive midfielder for about 3 years as Matic got older and older and older.
Yeah,
that just didn't replace him.
Yeah, that was really annoying. As other people have pointed out, then Herrera left and Matic got old. Stephanie Griffith says, big up Jay and Joe, by the way, forgive my manners, no, all good. Let's talk about Rhys Bennett. He's in the Manchester United squad. We've got a story here. I mean, what's this? He's replacing Fredrickson in the squad. Just the only reason I wanted to address this is not necessarily just about Rhys Bennett.
Hope you can read fast.
Yeah. It's more about the youngsters this season, because we're not really seeing, and it's only early doors, so I'm not sort of getting too giddy about it, but we've not seen much in the way of youngsters, even in the squad, have we?
No.
I think Fredrickson obviously played against Grimsby. I don't think there was any youngsters against Burnley, was there?
No, there wasn't.
In the squad.
Other than Mainu, if you want to, academy.
Yeah, no, but I don't think we can. I get your academy player point, which is a valid one, but there was no sort of young players who are fringe options. There was no Chido, there was no Fredrickson wasn't back in there. Obviously, Harry Hamas has gone out on loan. Quite a few players have gone out on loan. I think Ethan Wheatley's gone out on loan. So you're not really seeing it so far where the manager's looking at his younger players. Do you think that because we don't have European football this season, that the sort of the academy players who aren't on loan are just going to end up just playing for the academy and under 21s? They're not going to get much in the way of game time, or do you think that he might start throwing a few of them in?
I think if players take the chance, then they'll be given more chances. Yeah. Like, no offence to Fredrickson, but he was really poor against Grimsby.
I worry about Fredrickson
because he had that one really good game when him and Harry Hamas both looked really good, and then he played another game after that, didn't look so good. Then
was it Wolves at home? You think he played well? Am I getting that right?
I think it was. Yeah,
and was it Brentford away? I think where they both struggled.
Again, rings a bell.
Yeah. If you're getting involved in the chat in the comments, let me know if I'm getting the end
of last season, obviously.
Yeah, if I'm getting those games wrong.
And then the game against Grimsby was really bad. I think we've seen Shea Lacey a little bit, not a lot, but bits and bobs and pre-season stuff.
It's so annoying with Shea Lacey, isn't it? Because
he got injured again, didn't he?
It's injuries with Shea Lacey, and there was a time when he was sort of. There was him, Ethan Nweri, and Miles Lewis-Skelly guppered him, and every time you think he's getting there or thereabouts, he gets another injury. But
when you look at the sort of under-18s team that's been so good for the last couple of years, a lot of them have had first team minutes here and there, or been in part of the first team squad. So I do think that we'll see more of that, but I also think that we need to see players take their chances, because let's be honest, I know that very sort of rare occasions aside, the likes of Mason Greenwood, where it was just sort of destined and it was pre-planned, he's going to play for the first team. But mostly what you have to do is come in and play really well.
Yeah.
You don't usually get to come in, have 5 or 6 performances that are all right but not great, keep playing for some reason, keep playing, and then all of a sudden you're a first team regular. Kobbie Mainu came in and was brilliant straight away at 18. Man
of the match, wasn't he? Player of the match at Goodison, you're right.
So like at some point, when you get your chance, you got to take it. And
that's a good point.
I'm not saying Amorim's given people loads of chances, I don't think he has, but like I just think we saw Ethan Wheatley, for instance, come in, not really do much. Again, I think he's out on loan now. We've seen that with a few other players. Harry Hamas was alright in a game and not so good in a game. He's out at Sheffield Wednesday. So when you come in, you've got to look the part, which is unfortunate because it's hard to look the part when you're 17 or 18 or 19. But that's the standard.
No,
isn't it?
Do you know what? You're right, and it's true of every sort of young player, almost every young player. There's been players that have come in, not been ready, gone away on loan or took some time. Darren Fletcher's the obvious one. Came in, played out of position, to be fair. Everyone was like, what's he doing? Fergie's love child, all this other nonsense. And then in a few years, people are blaming his suspension on us not beating Barcelona in the Champions League final. Yeah. You look at Jesse Lingard, that's the one I was looking for, thank you. But it was on loan, I think, so he was 23, I think maybe came into the team at 23, which now seems like, almost unbelievable.
But we're going back 20 years for a couple of examples.
Yeah, we are.
Realistically, it's Rashford comes in, goals.
Yeah.
It's
Greenwood was the same, like you say.
Greenwood comes in, goal straight away. Mainu comes in, amazing straight away.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, the usual path line is come in and play well.
You've got to do that.
There's Arsenal too. Nwaneri and Lewis-Skelly. I know they've obviously got weaknesses. They don't play every single week. But Nwaneri's come in and scores goals and creates chances. Lewis-Skelly can play in 2 or 3 different positions and looks a competent Premier League level football.
And also,
straight away.
He was against City, bags a goal as well. Which puts everyone people just sit up and take notice of goals, don't they? It's just the nature of the beast. Antel says, I blame the under-21s league. It is utter garbage. Hoping Johnny gets top loans for our best lads. Yeah, Johnny Evans obviously in charge of loans with the youngsters, so hopefully we can see a bit. It is difficult, but like you say, you have to take your chance. And the sad thing with Fredrickson, I don't want to focus on him, but he's literally the only youngster that's played this season, because it's League 2 opposition. and because it's a game where was it half time he was hooked, and he wasn't. I mean, his keeper didn't do him any favours, but for that first goal, he's got to get closer to his man.
Yeah.
People look at that and going, is he even going to get another chance? I mean, you don't know, do you?
No.
Because unfortunately for him as well, he's a player in an area where we've got quite a lot of options. If he was a wing back, he might have a better chance, or if he was a striker. But we've got at least 4 or 5 very good centre backs. So it's going to take a bit of an injury crisis for him to get a nod again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not trying to write off Tyler Fredrickson, by the way. I'm just saying, I'm being honest about where he's at and the performance against Grimsby and what that could mean for him, because Ruben Amorim's got a lot of things on, to do. He's not got loads and loads of time to sort of take a gamble on players if they're not quite at the level. I think Fredrickson needs a low move and just sort himself out. Ayush Varma says, speaking of Ralph Rangnick, a few people have been mentioning Ralph Rangnick. Did you guys see his comments about players he had recommended before leaving? Is it just another social media myth? He's done this quite a few times, hasn't he, Ralph Rangnick, where he's mentioned players that he wanted or thinks United should have get. I think he did it at United. I think when he was at United, he was saying that he recommended, was it Luis Diaz and Alvarez and Haaland and Mbappe and everyone who's mint, I recommended him. And there might be some truth to that, but you don't know whether some of it is just... And also, some of it might be, I recommended players that were unobtainable. Yeah. I think somewhere the truth, probably the real truth meets in the middle.
And was there a dozen other players that he recommended that no one's even heard of now?
Yeah, that's it.
Did he recommend them on a list of 5, and you go, bloody hell, that's a decent eye? Or did he recommend them on a list of 15?
Yeah.
And you go, well, we had to sift through the other crap to get to the decent ones that we all... Erling Haaland was good, was he?
Yeah.
He's been an absolute monster since he was about 6.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these players, in the football world, everyone knew Wayne Rooney was special from about 7 years old.
Yeah.
Like, these top-level players, like we're talking about there, are a cut above everyone else at every single age group. They're not secrets.
No.
So, like you said, you can't always just get them just because you want them. Everyone wanted Erling Haaland.
Also, as well, because of the way the football world is now, where you're not as reliant on word of mouth and just scouting. You've got clips of everyone. You've got, like, the sort of people, the social media, youngsters going viral. Like, people are always chatting about them. You can get the stats up straight away. Like, it's quite difficult to find that sort of gem that no one else has seen, that you recommend, that no one else is looking at. It's not easy, that, and that's why the Haaland one sort of is such an annoying one with Ollie, because Ollie literally had access to Erling Haaland and was saying, get this kid at 16 or whatever, he's going to be mint, and United were like, £4 million, a bit much. Yeah. Where it's so annoying because those sort of opportunities are few and far beyond, and it's like you say, it's easy to sort of say, oh yeah, I named all these players that turned out to be fantastic, and United didn't take me up. I mean, there might be some in some of them, but some of it might be just him saying, what he thinks people want to wear now. Red Lad says, Jay and Joe in the morning, great way to start the day. Should we talk about Daniel Levy?
Yes.
Because, this isn't a United story, but I just wanted to chat to you about Daniel Levy, because he's quite a polarising figure in it. So if anyone who doesn't know, you can see it there. Daniel Levy has today stepped down from his role as executive chairman after nearly 25 years. I mean, it sort of lists his achievements in inverted commas there. They've been in European competitions in the last 18 or 20 season, one of the world's most recognised football clubs, consistently investing in his academy, players and facilities, including a new world-class stadium and state-of-the-art training centre. I think everyone who, when they discuss Daniel Levy, can admit fiscally, he's done very well.
Isn't that an old broadband company?
Fiscally,
they're owned by TalkTalk now, aren't they?
It's one of them where you had to put money in the meter to use their broadband. He is the executive chairman or the CEO, whatever you want to call him, who is known for getting the most out of deals, for running the club sort of in the black, so it's not operating at a loss, so it's not in financial trouble. He's got this reputation, Annie, of maintaining the finances, shall we say. And if I'm going to just play devil's advocate here, I haven't really got a dog in the fight. You can't argue the fact they have built a new stadium. They have, which is obviously cost them around £1 billion or whatever it was. They have built a new training centre, training ground, which is state of the art. They've done the things that we've been asking the Glazers to do for quite some time. So you got to give him credit for that. However, call me old-fashioned, I like winning football matches and trophies, and I know they beat us in a final, but it wasn't that their first trophy in about 15 years. Like, they're not...
Yeah.
They are, on his watch, they haven't really won out. So where do you stand on the sort of... How do you think... I know he's not dead, but how do you think Daniel Levy will be remembered?
I think... Look at the team. I know Tottenham are a big team, and they've always been a sort of there or thereabouts kind of team.
Yeah.
But they've never been a guarantee. They didn't used to be a guaranteed European team, and like pushing for Champions League many times while he was there. And you look at all of the other teams that aren't United, City, Chelsea, Liverpool. They've all come and gone. They've all had some and then in certain cases, things like what happened to Leeds happens, where you really go over the top.
Where Peter Ridsdale is acting like a bloody Kardashian on crack.
Yeah.
Just spending money that he ain't got.
Yeah, exactly. And that's an option for teams. You look at, who's come and gone a little bit. We've seen, not many really. Look at someone like Everton, who is a bigger team than Tottenham. How many times have they finished above them in the last 15 years? 2, 3?
Yeah, something like that.
Barely.
If that,
you look at West Ham, big historic team. They've been in the Championship in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
As of Newcastle, as of a lot of other sort of bigger teams. It's up and down the leagues, or it's relegation battles. Tottenham have been consistently one of the better teams in the Premier League for the last 20 years. Yeah. And no other team that isn't a top team has done that.
No.
They've got the best stadium in the country as of right now, I'll say that. They've got a fantastic training facility. Obviously, I think Old Trafford is a better stadium, but when you look at what FIFA likes, what UEFA likes...
No, I've not been to the new stadium, but...
They've got the most state-of-the-art stadium, let's put it that way.
Chatting to people that have been there, whether that's journalists or just fans, I say just fans like they're insignificant, but fans or journalists, everyone raves about it.
Yeah, they do. And they've got maybe the most impressive, should I say, then stadium in the country.
Yeah, I think it's a fair comment.
During all of that, they've stayed in European competition. They haven't won enough. Sacking Jose a week before the cup final is just idiotic, petty, and I think it was a personal thing rather than a Tottenham first thing, and that sort of thing.
I don't think you can ignore that as well. That was such a seismic decision.
Yeah, it was absolutely idiotic.
Jose Mourinho, the week of a cup final, when he was about to go up against Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, and then replacing him with Ryan Mason, was insane.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, I think it's all makes sense. I think him being there the way he was makes sense. Getting them to this point makes sense. Now you need someone to take a bit of a risk, because if you do want to push on, you're going to have to take a risk at some point, which he clearly wasn't willing to do. The only thing is, it is a risk. You might end up 7th. Well, they finished 16th last season, so it's not that far off. But they won a trophy. You might end up being a team like Everton, where you spend 400 or 500 million in the next 2 seasons.
They went turbo, didn't they?
Yeah, and you go for a big name manager like Ancelotti, you get this, that and the other, and it sort of blows up in your face. Yeah. And you're right on the edge of PSR for a few years, and you have to cut back and you have to sack a few managers. Like, there's a chance that happens, and that Tottenham fans see a lot fewer wins over the next 5 years than they've seen in the last 5 years. Yeah. But I think they needed to go for it now. But I don't think Levy's this villain character that everyone makes him out to be. It's not easy to do what Tottenham have done for the last 20 years. It's not.
I think you're right. I think most fans who talk about Daniel Levy, not Spurs fans, I know Spurs fans got their own opinion, don't like dealing with him. He's got his reputation. He's difficult. United, obviously, didn't we not go for Harry Kane a couple of years ago because we were scared that we were going to get a bit of a run around with Daniel Levy, dragging it out all through the summer, and then we would end up not getting him anyway and being stuck without a striker. So we went and got Højlund instead, and obviously you can make your own minds up on the wisdom of that one. But yeah, I think you're right. The Spurs have done well. They've competed. They've obviously been to a Champions League final. They've been other finals as well.
And if they'd have won the league in 2016, which they should have done, and it wasn't Daniel Levy's fault they didn't. No. They had the squad. I think they had the manager. They just didn't have the mentality, and they just certain things went wrong. The whole thing would be different. The whole look and view of Tottenham would be completely different. Obviously, you have to go and win it, and you can't let Leicester win it instead. But yeah, I don't know. I think get out, take some chances, but be aware, Tottenham fans, that in 5 years' time, you might be on your second or back-to-back sort of relegation battle, because it's not always
can unravel really quickly, can't it? It almost did from last season.
Yeah.
And obviously they won the trophy, so on the whole it's a good season for them, especially considering they don't win many. But in the league, they were bizarrely worse than us. Ant L says they didn't beat us, we beat us. A couple of international stories before we wrap up.
Oh, yeah.
This is from Stretford Paddock, the greatest channel ever. Brian Mbumo grabbed an assist and forced an own goal. I love that. In Cameroon's 3-0 win over... What?
Eswatini.
Yes. Last night, which Andre Onana kept a clean sheet in. It's all happening, isn't it? For the United Cameroonian boys.
Forcing a goal. Shoot in your own net.
That's the power of Mbumo. That's how good he is.
He basically had a shot that went in as an own goal. He played really well, apparently. But again, no offence, but Eswatini, come on.
Right, here's an interesting one. I'm always somewhat going down with those two international teams. There's always like fallout, politics, intrigue. There's moodiness. There's sort of favouritism. There's meltdowns in the media. There's people going home early from the tournaments. There's managers quitting and then coming back. It's like it's carnage, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the Dutch do it very, very well. And there's a story here. Matthijs de Ligt was an unused substitute in the Netherlands 1-1 draw with Poland last night. Fellow centre-back Jan-Paul van Heck had to come off with an injury in the 87th minute, but Ronald Koeman brought on Stefan de Vrij, who hasn't played a minute of competitive football for Inter so far this season over de Ligt. Now, there's a weird thing going on.
Koeman hates him.
He does.
He just don't like him, does he?
Yeah.
And Koeman's a stubborn tosser.
Yeah.
And he always has been.
Was it the game against Germany where both Koeman and Virgil van Dijk, who can do one, had a go at de Ligt?
Yeah,
we're like blaming him.
He did this at Barca. All the Barca fans, when Koeman was there, was like he had his favourites and he didn't like anyone else. I think he brought a load of Dutch players. I think it was him that brought in Memphis. I think they brought in what's De Jong, the striker, called. Luke De Jong.
Luke De Jong, yeah.
Like he came in and just made him play the least Barcelona football ever. Was notoriously just not willing to change anything. It's just what he's like, Koeman. And all the Everton fans as well, and former Everton players, you see interviews about, if he liked you, he liked you. If he didn't, you might as well be dead. And he'd tell you that to your face. He wish you were dead. So he clearly has got de Ligt on his sort of, don't like you list. And by the sounds of what he's been like throughout his career as a player and as a manager, that isn't going to change now. No. So I think de Ligt, what is he, 25, 26? You've just got to hope that Koeman gets sacked in the next couple of years if you want an international career, because I think he's going to really struggle otherwise.
I mean, I think Koeman's just bitter against de Ligt because de Ligt plays for Manchester United and Manchester United beat Ronald Koeman in the 1991 European Cup Winners' Cup final.
Big time.
So I think he's carrying that baggage with him. And he's taking it out on our beautiful Matthijs. Santanoch says Koeman isn't mega popular, even amongst many Dutch fans.
I don't think he's popular in his own head, to be fair.
Or in his own house.
He acts like a person who just is.
He was a bit of a knobhead as a player.
But he is a bit of a knobhead.
Yeah, he was. Do you remember him?
Phenomenal player. Obviously, I didn't watch him play, but I know his reputation and have seen plenty of highlights and people talk about him. What is it? He's got like 200 goals as a defensive midfielder.
I think his record from free kicks, his ratio is one of the highest ever.
Yeah, he was
unbelievable.
I think
he's not although like someone like Beckham or Roberto Carlos has, sort of the more glamorous goals and Cristiano Ronaldo or whatever, but in terms of the amount of free kicks he took, the amount of goals he scored, I think he's one of the highest ever. I think it's something like 1 in 7 or something stupid, which is ridiculous. Stephanie Griffith says Jay knows facts. All right, I'll say that. There's someone, I think there's a Dutch fan in here who said we hate him, and we Dutch want him gone. So yeah, he's not
60 career free kick goals.
Right.
With over 25% of his career goals. He scored 239 career goals.
Yeah.
And he was a defensive midfielder / centre-back.
Yeah.
He was a defender who scored 240 goals. That is absolutely... You have to say that is utterly astonishing.
That is astonishing. And then, as his point had been shown to us as well, his most famous free kick was the winning goal in the 1992 European Cup final. I mean, that was at Wembley, wasn't it?
There's a reason why he keeps getting jobs. He was an outstanding player, but as a manager, it's
weird because when you see him in you see him in the dugout or whatever, and you see he's just like, oh, he looks like a nice bloke. He's just like a nice sort of elderly gentleman, and he's not. He's just a bit of a bastard.
You either love him or you hate him.
Yeah,
I think he's very polarising. Everton fans would say the same, I think, or from what I've seen. Obviously, I'm not going to speak on behalf of all Everton fans, but he seemed very polarising as a person.
This isn't our only live video today, is it, my friend?
Absolutely not.
We're going to be back later on with The Brew. It's going to be me, Joseph, and Mr. Stephen Howson. So make sure if you're not doing so already, you are subscribing to the channel. Go and check him out on Sloppy Joes as well. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Martin. This has been Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.